wanted to get you on the phone because you've seen some of these babies in person, and it's not fair that I'm getting attacked and I'm getting lied about, and I get a lot of attacks for making bean replicas, and so I've never really explained why I do that. Just for everybody to know, the reason that I make replicas of Bean's dolls is because I got a couple of dolls, one of them after waiting an entire year, that I was very unhappy with, and that was Layla. She's my Jala kit. Anyway, I got the doll after a year. She was supposed to be a twin to Jade. Jade was an award-winning baby that Bean had made, and she's the closed-eyed version of the sculpt. When I got her, she was on a small newborn body, and I'm going to show you guys that body in comparison to the proper body that she's on now. So she looked ridiculous just right out the gate. She also had no nose shading. She had the wrong eyes. I had sent Bean, along with the kit, these $50 gorgeous eyes that I agonized over and picked out. She came with cheap plastic eyes that were completely wrong eyes. I never got compensated for the $50 eyes I sent. They went into another doll. She had the wrong eyelashes. She had white eyelashes. Jade has black eyelashes, and it may not seem like a big deal, but when you're trying to make twins, it is a big deal. She looked sickly because she was on this tiny body and these wrong eyes and these weird eyelashes. She had no creasing. And the worst part of all of it, and this is the part that I can't fix without stripping her, is that she had no skin tone paint. And I'm going to let Lauren explain to you what that looks like in person, because I don't know if the video is going to capture it.
She kind of looks like a kit that's barely been painted. It's like, because there's no skin tone. So there's barely a difference between what is vinyl and what is not. Like, they're all vinyl, but it doesn't look like you would expect a doll that take a year to get to.
Well, and it's very shiny.
Especially if you're making a twin after an award-winning doll. Like, yes, you can't get exactly the same thing a year later, but something close would have been nice, and a tenth would have been nice. It honestly looked like she waited till the last second, slapped it together, and sent it.
Yeah, and that's how it felt. I mean, the wrong body, the wrong eyes, and particularly the no skin tone. Like, she feels like straight vinyl. And
yeah, she does.
You guys have to remember that I'm an artist myself. So I know when there's been shortcuts taken. I know what it feels like. I know what it looks like. And when you look at her, she just has this very gray tone to her. She looks nothing like her sister. She's got some coloring on her. Bean put some blue and some red coloring on her. But that's all she did. I mean, it's very clearly it just feels like sticky plastic. And when I got her, I always do a box opening of all my dolls, so I always have the video going as I'm opening the box. And when I got her, you guys will notice, if you look back, she does not have a box opening. And at the time, I said, oh, I recorded it, but it got lost. But if you look at Bean's Instagram, where you can see pictures of her, she looks very different than she looked when I showed her on video, and that's because I pulled out her white eyelashes and put black ones on. I took out the eyes that were the cheap, crappy eyes, and I put in some other eyes that I had that I like, but they're not the eyes I picked out and not the eyes I paid a lot of money for. I added some paint to her eyebrows, and I added her nose shading, and I tried to fix her as best I could, because I don't want to strip her. That just breaks my heart. But I waited a year for this doll. When I first got Jade, I was so excited that Romy Stridham was making an open-eyed version of this doll. I was so excited. And after a year, I get this doll that is like, you know, a 9-month-sized doll on a newborn body and all these things wrong. And I was heartbroken. And so when I was opening the box, I started to like choke up. And I just thought, no, I'm not going to upload this. And at the time, Bean was my friend. And the implications of uploading a box opening like that for the artist are not good, okay? I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I knew I could fix some of this stuff. But it also made me very nervous because at the time I also had Peanut. Bean was making Peanut for me. And that order was already in process, and I thought, oh God, Peanut's going to come with no nose shading, and she's going to come with all these problems, and she did. And in between the time that I got my Layla, my open-eyed Jade, and I got Peanut, I had sent several messages to Bean just expressing, because Peanut was a remake of a doll I'd already bonded with that I actually got from Laura. And she was very important to me. And so I sent a lot of messages to Bean just reiterating how I'm so happy she's making her and she's so important to me and I'm so bonded with this doll. And I wanted to get across that she's really important to me. So please put all of your effort into her like you do with all your eBay dolls. And when I got her, Peanut had no nose shading, which on a reborn, that's a basic thing. That's a basic thing, and it really screws with the realism when you don't have that. She had no fingernails. She was also on the wrong body. She was on a larger body than she should have been, and she's supposed to be a full-legged kit. She had no creasing, and she had gloss, the type of gloss that you put on the fingernails and sometimes in the corners of the eyes and in the nose. She had that all over her hands. And I was really heartbroken, again, for the second time in a row, because I have some of Bean's dolls. I have 12 of them, I think. And some of them are amazing and gorgeous. And others have a lot of problems. And I follow her work. I've seen some of her work recently where she's made a doll like a troll or the dragon hybrid that she made. And the face is amazing. But the body has no creasing, no fingernails, no details, nothing. And so after I got those 2 dolls and I was really displeased, I stopped buying from Bean. And
because why would you pay all that money to have to fix up a doll?
Yeah, I mean,
disappointed the way you are.
And I feel bad for other people, and some of them, you know, on one hand, if you're not an artist, you might not notice some of these things. Because when I first started collecting, in particular, I didn't notice some of the problems that my dolls had, and it took other collectors pointing out some of those things in a nice way, just saying, you know, watch out for this next time. I didn't notice some of those things, so maybe some people don't notice.
Yeah.
But on the other...
Or they won't get a doll that they can compare it to.
Yeah, and on the other hand, though, I have a lot of Bean's work already. I know what she's capable of doing, and when I got my Jala, when I got Layla, it was like, how could you send me this when, 1, I'm supposed to be your friend, 2, I'm an artist myself, so I'm going to notice problems. Like, how could you send me something that you clearly did not put effort into? I was heartbroken because she's supposed to be my friend, for 1. I was heartbroken because I waited so long and I was so excited. I wanted Romy to make this kit before she even made it. Like, when I found out she was making an open-eyed version of Jade, I was, like, over the moon. And I had said before she even talked about it, I hope she makes an open-eyed version. Like, this was one of the dolls in my collection that I was super excited for. And when I got her...
It was even a thing.
Yeah, and, I mean, I could fix some of the stuff. Like, I fixed her nose, I fixed her eyelashes, I fixed her eyes, you know.
You can't add skin tone.
Yeah, I mean, in pictures, I have to do a lot of manipulation so that the girls match, so that the one open-eyed girl doesn't look completely dead, because she's got blue coloring in her skin, but no skin tone underneath. And the vinyl is very pale. I mean, that's not a natural skin tone. That's why you add skin tone paint. So, yes, I make Bean Baby replicas, and maybe Bean is hurt by that, because I'm able to do what she does. 2 dolls in a row that were not finished. 2 dolls that, in particular, were very important to me. And I feel like I am not hurting her business. I do not go and make, despite what has been said, I do not make Bean Babies, Bean replicas for sale. I make them for myself. I don't even make dolls really for sale at all. I mean, how often do you see me selling a doll?
Just because they don't see a doll in your collection for a while doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah, Lauren found that out.
A lot of dolls. A lot of dolls.
It's like a doll museum over here. I mean...
It's the doll show. I never need to go to the doll show again.
You know, so if I sell a baby, I try very hard to make it not look like a Bean Baby so that I don't compete with her business in any way. Because regardless of my personal feelings about someone, I have integrity as a person. I have to look myself in the mirror every day. And
every Bean Baby, whether it's one she's made or one you've made as a replica, you give her credit.
Yeah, I always give credit.
Every time.
I've had countless people contact me and send me a photo from Bean's website or her Instagram or whatever and say, hey, can you make this for me? I want one of these. And I've said no. I've had so many of those messages that it's to the point now where I have to put it on my Facebook and I've put it on my videos and on my YouTube description that if you ask me for that, you'll be blocked. I will not replicate another artist's work for sale. Do not ask me to do that. I will block you. It's happened that often and that much that I've had to say that as just a blanket statement. And I think that's really telling. But I have countless messages from people over the years asking me to do that, and I've said no. So while Bean may not like that I'm able to replicate her work so well, I do credit her. I do promote her. Even during times when she and I were not talking and I was not happy with her behavior, I still promote her work. I still tell people to go to her website. I still tell people, if you want a Bean baby, go to Bean. I don't change my behavior because of my personal feelings about someone. Because I am doing what I feel is right all the time, regardless of how she treats me or if she's backstabbing or lying about me or whatever. I have to do what I feel is right.
And you don't create these dolls out of spite.
No.
You create them because you love the idea.
She has amazing ideas. Bean is so creative. You know, I look at websites like Pinterest where people make, or even recipes, where they have the Chili's recipes online and people make those for themselves. Like, they make things on Pinterest and you see all these Pinterest fail and they're so funny. That's the same exact thing that I'm doing. I'm seeing something on the internet that I really like and I'm able to make it for myself. And people have varying degrees of success with those things. I happen to be pretty good at it. But again, I don't have any confidence buying from Bean anymore. When I got Simone, when I first got Zuli, when I got some of those babies back in the day, I loved those. I couldn't shut up about her work. I was always talking about her. But now, I don't know what I'm going to get. I've noticed when she puts a baby on eBay, that usually looks completely finished and really amazing because people are going to fight over that. But sometimes when she makes customs, I'm not sure if she's just very busy. I'm not insinuating there's malicious intent behind it. I'm saying regardless of why it happens, and it happened to me twice in a row. And it happened to me.
Very important babies.
Yeah,
and it stressed how important they were.
After I waited a year, you know, I mean, I really try. You know this. I waited for my silicone for 3 years before I was finally like, I have to sell my spot.
You wait a long time.
Yeah, I try to be very understanding. I try not to talk badly about artists. That's why when I did the box opening for my Jala for Layla, and she was so bad that I was like choking up because I was so hurt and so upset, I didn't upload that because I knew I could fix most of the problems, and I didn't want to hurt Bean. I didn't want to hurt her business. I didn't want to hurt her as an artist. I wanted to think that this was an oversight and it had just been a very busy year, and really there's no excuse for that. But I was trying to make excuses for her because she was my friend, and I needed to do that in order to not feel hurt by it.
Yeah.
And when you came and visited, I almost didn't want to show you her because it's real obvious in person, you guys. And I try, like I said, to...
And if Lexi hadn't have said it in the, I want to show you them compared, I wouldn't have said anything because I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings that her doll didn't look quite up to par with the first one or any of the other ones.
Yeah, and the other reason I didn't want to say anything necessarily is that I don't want people... I know these dolls are not real. I know they are not my kids. I know all that. But because I have a bond with them, and I even have a bond with her because I waited so long, and she has this sweet, happy little face, and I really tried.
She's a sweetie.
Yeah, I tried very hard because I was already bonded to the kit. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. You know it's a good kit when you're bonded to the kit, you know. I had already bonded to her, you know, before she got here in my mind, and so the other reason I didn't want to say anything is because I don't want people to look at Layla and think, oh, she's the crappy one.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't want them to look at her any different.
Yeah, and so I really didn't want to make this video. And I can't stress that enough. And Lauren and I have had these conversations 100 times. I didn't want to make this video. But as I continue to get attacked for making Bean baby replicas, I feel like I have to say, look, this is why I do it. And I'm sorry if that hurts Bean, but I have to be honest. I have to be real. It just... I need to say what's really going on.
She needs to stand up for herself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've taken a lot of crap over it and haven't really said too much, especially on YouTube. I haven't said very much at all.
No, I don't think there's really anything on YouTube.
So, anyways, I just wanted to share that with everyone because I'm just tired of being thrown under the bus and I'm not creative, and I make my own dolls that are my own ideas. Penny's my own idea, my Grinches are my own idea.
Oh, yeah.
I made a zombie with a sleeve tattoo that was green skin tone that was my own idea. Like, I've made lots of stuff that's my stuff. But what I prefer to collect is things that are more whimsical, like Bean style, and she's very creative. But I wish she would finish the dolls.